From the depths of the salt Aegean floods, I, Poseidon, come where the dancing Nereid twirls so gracefully. Goodwill towards this land of Troy has never left my heart. Now it is smoldering, overthrown by the Argive spear and in ruin. The Greeks framed a wooden horse to bear within its womb hidden spears. The sacred groves are desolate, and the temples of the gods run down with blood. King Priam lies dead before the altar of Zeus, protector of the hearth. Golden Trojan spoils are being sent to the ships of the Greeks. They wait for a fair wind to bring them home after their 10 long years of war, where they can behold with joy their wives and children. I'm abandoning Troy and my altars that have been worsted by the goddess Hera and by Athena, who joined forces to destroy Troy. Where there is the curse of desolation, there is no will to honor the gods. I've heard the screams of captive maids as they by lot receive their masters. But all of the Trojan women who have not been allotted are in these tents. They've been set apart from the foremost leaders of the army, and with them Helen, rightly classed as prisoner. And here is Hecuba, lying in misery, unaware that her daughter, Polyxena, has been killed in a pitiable sacrifice at Achilles' tomb. Priam, her husband, and her sons are no more. As for her daughter, Virgin Cassandra, whom the god Apollo left mad, Agamemnon will abandon the wish of the god and bed her by force in an unlawful marriage. Farewell, O city, prosperous once.
May I address the mighty God whom heaven reveres, and to my own sires very nigh in blood, laying aside our former enmity?
Thou mayst, for o'er the soul of the ties of kin exert no feeble spell, great Queen Athena.
I'm come to seek thy mighty aid to make it one with mine.
Why leapest thou from mood to mood?
Dost thou not know the insult done to me at my shrine?
Insult done.
Surely at the hour that Ajax dragged off Cassandra by force.
And he was neither punished nor reprimanded by the Greeks.
Yet 'twas by thy mighty aid they sacked Troy.
For which cause I would join with you and do them harm. When they are sailing home from Troy, Zeus will send his rain, fearful hail, inky tempest from the sky, and the fire from his thunderbolts. And if he will, make the sea roar with huge waves and whirlpools, and fill the bay with corpses, that the Greeks may learn to reverence my temples and respect all other gods.
It shall be so. Mount thou Olympus and take thy father's firebolts, and watch for the time when the Greek army is under full sail. A fool is he who sacks cities, temples, and tombs, the holy places of the dead. He himself will seek the destruction he has wrought.
Lift thy head, unhappy lady, from the ground to the tune of the flute's ill-omened music. This is no longer Troy, and I am no longer Troy's queen. What else but tears is my hapless lot, whose country, children, and husband are all lost. The Greeks came over the purple sea in quest for the hateful Helen, wife of Menelaus. Murderous is she of my husband Priam, the cause of my wretched state. Now here I sit in this ruin, near the tents of Agamemnon, to be led away from my house, a poor slave woman. O hapless wives of the sons of Troy! Poor maidens, come and weep. For our city is now but a ruin. And I, as a mother bird, shall begin to chant and cry so different from the dance in the days of Priam.
Hecuba, what mean thy words? A pang of terror shoots through the heart of each Trojan woman who mourns their slavish lot.
The Greek oarsmen are already moving towards their ships.
What is their intent? Will they bear us in our sorrow away from our country?
I do not know. I assume it means our ruin.
With trembling steps, we leave the tents of Agamemnon to find out our fate. To whom are we to be given as slaves?
The time is near for our allotment. Whose slave shall I become in my old age? I who once held royal rank in Troy.
Never let us serve Menelaus, husband of Helen, whose hateful hand laid waste to Troy.
But mark, here comes a herald from the army of the Greeks.
Hecuba, thou knowest me from my many journeys as a messenger from the Greeks. I am Talthybius, no stranger to thee, lady. I have come to bring news.
Come to me, dear women. It is what I have feared and have dreaded.
The lot has decided your fates. Each warrior took his prize. You have not all been allocated together.
Then tell me, whose prize is my hapless daughter Cassandra?
King Agamemnon hath chosen her to be his bride in a stealthy union.
What? The virgin priestess of Apollo hath sworn a vow of celibacy, never to wed.
Love for the frenzied maid hath seized the king's heart. After all, it is a high honor to win a monarch's love.
And what of Polyxena, my youngest child that was taken from me? Is she still alive?
She is minister at Achilles' tomb. Her fate is one that sets her free from trouble.
Dead? Dead. And what of the wife of my son Hector, Andromache? Declare her fate.
She too was a chosen prize. Achilles' son did take her.
And I, whose hair is white with age, whose slave am I to be?
Odysseus, king of Ithaca, hath taken thee to be his slave.
Weep for me, Trojan women, fallen slave to a treacherous foe and monster, a foul man of trickery who transforms men to hatred of what they once loved. I am victim who has met with the unhappiest lot of all.
Thy fate thou knowest, but for us, what masters our destiny?
Off, slaves! With haste bring me Cassandra, that I may place her in her captain's hands, and deliver the rest to their new masters. What is the blaze of torch within? Is it a fire of the women to burn the chamber because they must leave? Or do they set themselves aflame, longing for death and their misery?
'Tis not that they are setting themselves ablaze, but my mad child Cassandra comes rushing hither wildly.
Bring thy light and show its flame. I make shrine of gods to glow with tapers bright. King of marriage, blessed is the bridegroom. Blessed am I to wed a princely lord. Dry thy tears, O mother. I honor you with this light. I give light to you, God of marriage. Come, mother mine, and join thy dance. Link thy steps with mine, now here, now there. Salute the bride on her wedding day. Holy is the dance. Come, ye maids, sing my marriage with husband fated, I am wed. Come, ye maids, sing my marriage with husband fated, I must bed.
Royal mistress, hold thy frantic maiden lest she rush into enemy hands.
Child, how little did I dream of such a marriage for thee. Give up the torch to me. You should not carry it in her frenzy. Take in this torch, and for her wedding madrigals weep your tears instead.
Mother, see the victorious wedding garland on my head. Rejoice in my marriage to a king, for my union shall be more disastrous than Helen's. Yes, for I shall kill Agamemnon, and I shall destroy his house in revenge for my brothers and my father. I shall bring down the house of Atreus. The Greeks in their hunt for Helen lost countless men because of one woman, one love affair. They died unshrouded in a foreign land. As for the Trojans, they died in their native land. They were laid to rest by duteous hands. And as for thy son, my brother Hector, he is dead and gone, but leaves his reputation as the bravest of the brave. If the Greeks had stayed home, who would have known of his courage? And as for Paris, too, he married Zeus's daughter. If he had not, who would have talked of Helen? All died nobly, mother. All crowned the city with glory. Do not pity my fate, for this marriage will destroy those who thou and I most hate.
If Apollo had not driven you mad, you would not be sending my generals off with such ominous predictions forth on their way. No, you would pay for these utterances. But King Agamemnon, son of Atreus, has yielded to a passion for you, mad maid. Though I am a poor man, I would never have sought to bed you, woman. Follow me to the ships, to grace the wedding of our chief. And you will come later to be brought to Odysseus.
What a clever fellow this menial. All men unite in hating the servants of kings and governments. You say, my mother shall come to the halls of Odysseus. Apollo says she will die here. Odysseus has no knowledge of the suffering in store for him. His 10 years at Troy shall seem as gold compared to the next 10 before he comes to his country alone. He shall encounter the savage Cyclops and Circe, who turns men to swine. He shall meet with shipwreck on the salt sea, long for the lotus and the sacred cattle of the sun. He shall descend to Hades alive when he finally reaches his home. He shall encounter 1,000 troubles. Lay on! Let me marry my bridegroom in the house of Hades. And you will be buried in the dead of night, who thinketh so proudly on thy fortune. As for me, they shall fling my naked corpse into the rocky chasms of the wintry waters, for wild beasts to feed on me, hard by my husband's tomb. Me, the handmaid of Apollo. Farewell, ye garlands of God most dear to me. I tear thee from my body, while I am still pure, that the winds may carry them to thee. Where is the ship? Lose no time in watching for a favoring breeze, as doomed thou art to carry from this land one of the 3 avenging Furies. Furies! Farewell, mother. Do not shed a tear. Yet a little while I shall join my father and my brothers. Victory shall crown my head amongst the dead, and I have overthrown our destroyers, the house of Atreus!
Attendants of Hecuba, help her under her feet!
Leave me. My trouble, my past claim, this lowly posture. I was of royal blood and married into a royal house. I was a mother of a race of gallant sons. No Trojan mother, no Greek or barbarian could boast of such sons. I saw my husband Priam butchered on his own hearth and my city captured. My daughters, I have raised to marry noble bridegrooms, have been snatched away. Last of all, to crown my miserable life, I shall come to Greece a slave, to watch their gate, to bake their bread. Me, Hector's mother. And on the ground, instead of royal bed, lay down my shrunken limbs with tattered rags about my wasted frame. None of my sons and daughters may come to lift up their mother. Why then raise me up? What hope is left?
Sing me, muse, a tale of Troy, a funeral song accompanied by tears. For now we shall cry the song of Troy, and how it was destroyed by the wooden horse of the Greeks. Trojans embraced the horse as a gift. That was their ruin. They dragged it to the stone temple of Athena, and when the darkness fell, a bloody cry rang out as the Greeks came forth from the horse, and the Trojans were slaughtered at their altars and in their beds. Look, Hecuba, Andromache advances hither, clasping to her throbbing breast your son, Hector's child, Astyanax.
Troy is fled. Troy is overthrown.
Come, my husband. Come to me.
Hapless wife, thou callest my son who lieth in the tomb.
I'm being led off as plunder with my son. The noble art to slavery brought a bitter, bitter change. Death is a fate happier than this life.
Death and life are not the same, my child. The one is annihilation. The other keeps a place of hope.
The dead feel no sorrow and know no grief. Polyxena, thy daughter dead at Achilles' tomb, knows nothing of her misfortunes. But I was a chaste wife in Hector's home. I abode within my home and would not admit to the clever gossip women love, and ever would I keep a silent tongue and modest eye before my lord Hector. My reputation for these things hath reached the Greek army and Achilles' son. Peleus would have me for his wife, and I must serve in a house of murderers! If I set aside my love for Hector and open my heart to this new lord, I shall appear traitress to the dead. While if I hate him, I shall incur my master's displeasure. They say a single night breaks down a woman's distaste for a man's bed. Nay! I do hate the woman who, when she hath lost her former lord, transfers her love by marrying another. Oh, Hector mine, in thee I found a husband amply dowered in wisdom, noble birth and fortune, a brave man and mighty. Thou didst take me from my father's house a spotless bride. But now death hath claimed thee, and I to Greece sent soon to sail, a captive doomed to slavery. Surely the death of Polyxena is less evil than what I am to bear. I have not hope, the last resource of every human heart.
Our tragedy is the same.
Cease, oh cease, my darling child, to speak of my son Hector's fate. No tears of thine shall save him. Honor thy present lord and seduce your husband into loving you. If you do this, thou shalt give pleasure to him and thy friends, and you may bring up the son of my son Hector, and his children may found Ilium anew, and Troy may yet be established. But lo, our talk must take a different turn as the Greek lackey returns, sent to tell us new designs.
Wife of Hector, the best of Troy, do not hate me for the news I bear.
What is it? Thy prelude bodeth evil news.
'Tis decreed thy son is... How can I say my news?
Surely not to have a different master of me.
They mean to slay your son. There is my hateful message to thee.
Oh God! This is worse than my forced marriage!
So spake Odysseus to all assembled, and his word prevails. He said they should not rear brave Hector's son.
Sorrow! Sorrow! Our sufferings are beyond all measure! I pray that such counsels prevail to sons of his.
From Troy's battlements must he be thrown. Cling not to him, but bear thy sorrows with a heroic heart. You are conquered. Do not bring shame upon yourself and try and fight this resolve. If you anger this army, this son of yours will not be buried and met with compassion. But if you hold your peace, and with composure take thy fate, his corpse will be buried, and you will find favor with the Greeks.
Sweet babe and priceless treasure, thy father's bravery will serve to destroy you. Oh, my fateful wedding bed that brought me the hope to raise a son to rule o'er Asia's fruitful fields. A deadly fall from a great height will take thy life and stop thy breath.
In vain it seems these breasts did suckle thee wrapped in swaddling clothes for naught. Embrace thy mother for the last time. Oh, the sweet fragrance of thy skin. Oh, Helenus, why slay this child that never wronged any?
You are barbarians!
Oh, take him. Carry him away. It is the gods who are destroying us, and we can find no way to ward off death from this dear babe. Fling my wretched body out to the ships. Yes, I will make a fine marriage. I, who have lost my son. No. No. No.
Unhappy Troy, you have lost many men because of one woman.
Oh, my child, son of my wretched son, your mother and I are being robbed of thy life. What suffering remains for us to endure?
Hail, son, thou radiant orb, who by thy fair light I shall now capture her that was my wife, Helen. For I, Menelaus, who hath toiled so hard not to take this woman, but to punish him who from my house stole my wife, traitor to my hospitality. And he has paid the penalty. He and his land have fallen to the Greek spear. Here my wife is numbered with the rest of the women of Troy. I may kill her, or spare her life, and take her back to the land of Greece. Servant, bring her out here, drag her by the hair, the murderess. And when the favorable winds blow to Hellas, we will convey her.
Oh, Zeus!
Oh, Zeus!
I offer you my prayer that you dispose of these human affairs according to thy justice.
What is this strange new prayer you offer to the gods?
I thank thee, Menelaus. If thou wilt slay thy wife, do not look upon her in case she ensnares you with desire. She destroys the town and burns the houses of men, so potent are her spells. We know her as we are her victims, as art thou.
I know thou hatest me for your attendance to drag me forth brutally. Still, I must know what decision you and the Greeks have made about my life.
They handed you over to me whom thou hast wronged, and to be killed.
My death will be unjust.
I came not to argue, but to slay thee.
Hear her, Menelaus! Let her not die of want of that, then I will answer in opposition. I know of her villainies in Troy that will ensure her death.
I shall only make this concession to her because of thy words, not out of consideration for her.
Shall reply to the accusations I know thou wilt advance against me. She gave birth to this Paris, and Priam brought destruction on Troy when he failed to kill his son after it was prophesied Paris should bring Troy down. This Paris later had to judge the claims of beauty of 3 rival goddesses. Hera promised him power over Asia and Europe if he chose her. Athena offered him command of all of Phrygia and the destruction of the Greeks. And Aphrodite spoke in rapture of my loveliness and promised Paris should have me. Aphrodite won the day o'er them. This was benefit to Greece, as you were not ruled by tyrants, you were not destroyed by barbarians, but Greece's good fortune and my beauty proved my ruin. With the love goddess Aphrodite, he stole into thy house, and you took leave of your home for the land of Crete. You asked what frantic thought led me to leave thy house, traitorous to my country and my home. Punish the goddess. Show thyself mightier than Zeus, who is yet her slave, and I may well be pardoned. Another specious case against me may be that I did not leave when Paris died in journeys to Hades. I tried to escape, and as the warders on watchtower did bear witness, for oft they found me stealthily letting myself down from the battlements. But a new husband, Diphobus, seized me by force and took me to wife against the will of Troy.
My lord, how can you justly put me to death, seeing that my natural gifts have served a bitter slavery?
My royal queen, defend thy children and thy country. Prove her arguments false as she pleads well in spite of her villainy.
First, I will take up the cause of the three goddesses. I do not believe that Hera and Athena sunk to the depths of such folly for beauty. Hera has won the most wondrous of all husbands, Zeus, and Athena is a virgin goddess not in eager pursuit of beauty. Oh, do not make fools of the gods. What folly was said about Aphrodite coming with Paris into the house of Menelaus? She could have taken you to Troy and stayed in heaven. My son was fair, and when you gazed on him, your mind was possessed by passion which you blame on Aphrodite. You hoped that Troy, awash with gold, would give you sufficient scope for your riotous luxury as you felt the palace of Menelaus wanting. And my son took you by force? What Spartan heard your cry? Then when thou wert come to Troy and tidings came to thee of Menelaus' victories, thou wouldst praise him and grieve my son. But if Troy prospered, Menelaus was nothing to you. Then you say you stole away since you were in Troy against your will. Why didst thou not string thyself up in noose or sharpen swords to take thy life? A noble course for a woman in misery over the loss of her former husband. I advised you and offered to help you take your leave of Troy to put an end to fighting with the Greeks. But you would have none of it since you were living well in the house of Paris and wanted all to serve you. And now you dare to stand under the same sun as your wronged husband dressed in finery? You should have come in rags, humbling, trembling in terror with your head shorn. Menelaus, crown Greece with honor by slaying her, and let other women know that whoever betrays a husband must die.
Menelaus, vengeance is yours on your wife. Do not be a coward in the eyes of the Greeks, and appear noble in the sight of your enemies.
Thy thoughts are the same as mine. She left my house of her own accord and sought a stranger's love. Off with her, to the ship to sail, and once she reaches Argos, she'll be met with a wretched death. Let her death requite the weary toils of the Greeks and be a lesson to women on chastity.
Menelaus, I beg thee, I entreat thee!
Oh, never let her set foot on the same ship as thee!
Why? Did she but wait since I last saw her?
Who loveth once must love always.
That depends on how those who love are minded. But thy wish shall be granted. She shall not sail with me, for thy advice is sound.
Oh!
God, are the sacrifices we made to Zeus in vain? The lovely singing of the dancers in the dark at the festival of the gods. Zeus, carest thou at all that our city is destroyed? And one of our husbands' unmarried corpses? And we will sail on ships to Greece into slavery, while Menelaus' boat is sailing on the high sea. May thy blazing thunderbolts smite the ship! May he never reach his home, having taken Helen captive, whose marriage brought disgrace on the Greeks, and woe on Troy. Behold, new troubles, O ye hapless wives of Troy. The corpse of Astyanax, whom the Greeks have slain by hurling from the battlements.
Hecuba, Andromache is gone lamenting the fatherland, begging to bury this corpse. She pleaded with them not to take this shield of Hector's to the same bedroom where she will be bride of Peleus, son of Achilles. She beseeched them that the boy should be buried upon this shield and given unto thy arms, so that you may shroud him with robes and garlands. As for us, once you have adorned the body, we shall bury it in the earth. You must be quick. I have saved thee labor and bathed the corpse in Scamander's stream and cleansed the wounds. Now I will go and dig a grave for him, that our united efforts may speed our ships towards home.
Oh, Greeks, did you fear this tender babe would rear again the fallen walls of Troy? You have won the battle, yet you are frightened of this little boy. Oh, my beloved, thine is a piteous death to have never tasted manhood, merit, and royal power. I cannot conceal the horror of the slain. Oh, thy broken hands, Such sweet remembrances of thy father's hands. My mouth, so full of joyous smiles, is frozen now. I had hoped that you would bury me one day and address the grave of your grandmother with loving word. Now it is I who will bury you, an old woman who has lost her city and her children. What could a poet write on your grave? The Greeks killed you because they feared you. A shameful epitaph for the Greeks. But you shall have thy father's shield, your heritage. It shall cradle thy body. O shield, thou hast lost Hector. Now take his son. Come. Bring forth from such stores we have adornment for the hapless dead. You shall be given what I have. Foolish is the mortal who rejoices in his prosperities for fortune. Like a madman springs this way and that, and no one is ever happy simply in himself.
Lo, all is ready, and they are bringing at thy bidding the spoils of Troy to place upon him, the dead.
Oh, my child, your grandmother adorns thy body. And you, dear shield of Hector, accept thy crown. Death cannot touch thee. For thou dost merit immortal honors far beyond those of Odysseus.
The earth will receive you, child, whom we lament so bitterly, a song for the dead.
Sorrow for your woes that cannot be healed. The heart shall take thee to her breast, and we shall weep for unending sorrow.
Go now, bury him, breathed as duly as befits a corpse.
Who are those I see on yonder pinnacle, with flaming torches in their hands? A new calamity on Troy will soon alight.
Ye captains, launch the flame, that when we have destroyed the city of Ilium, we may set forth in gladness on homeward voyage from Troy. And you depart hence to the Greek ships.
Come, let us into the flame, for to die with my country in its blazing ruin were a noble death.
Thy sorrows drive thee frantic, poor lady. Go, lead her hence. She is prize of Odysseus.
Land that nursed my children, hear me! Listen to your mother's cry. I set my aged bones upon the ground and beat the earth with my two fists.
We join you and call our husbands forth from Hades.
Dragged off to a house of slavery. Oh, husband Priam, you know nothing of my dreadful fate.
Black death veils his eyes, holy amid unholy slaughter. The name of Troy will vanish into oblivion.
I see the crush of the citadel.
The citadel tumbles.
Oh, my trembling limbs, support my steps. Go forth into the life of slavery.
Fragile Troy, no more. Fragile Troy, no more.